Welcome back. Yeah, it's a Hasbro video. I'm going to be very just calm about this video. And essentially, if you've been living under a rock, Hasbro's Wizards of the Coast earnings are so bad for Q4 of 2022 that Papa Hasbro's corporate little fancy office atop the ivory tower had to send out a warning message to Wall Street last night. Warning how bad of an earnings miss, and we call that kind of, there was a term for that. Some people call it a soft landing. Some people's kind of a warning so that the stock doesn't get obliterated from an extreme earnings miss. This is very commonplace on Wall Street when a company is very far off of the range that they're expected to hit for the end of the year. Many times, if it's too far off, analysts and everybody will panic and the stock will hit hard. So what they'll do is companies will come out in advance saying, hey, looks like we're not going to be in the range that we expected. Not the high end or low end. We're going to fall outside that range. So many times companies will forewarn an earnings miss or an earnings problem. And yeah, so essentially, if you've been living under a rock, Hasbro announced they're going to fire 1,000 people. I'm sorry, lay off. Make it sound good. They're going to fire over 1,000 people. The people at the top realize that, wow, they really screwed it up. And in typical corporate song and dance, look over there to look at the fire in the room and all the problems. In the typical fashion, they are very vague. They try not to give any detailed transparency. It's just, Hasbro Gaming, Wizards Gaming, D&D, there's still strength, but there's, we didn't hit it. Some are up. We're up like 10, 20% here. What's that? We're down 20, 10. There's no real detail of, hey, Paper Magic is down double digits. Digital is up 5%. My Little Pony, Rudy riding naked in the street is up 50%. So the average is, we're still positive. They're very good at spinning things to the narrative. And, that's the internet and that's Wall Street and that's our culture, right? But, I think the biggest thing that's garbage about all this is, when I look at a situation like this is, the people at the top who make the most money, when they screw up and they miscalculate, the solution is to fire all the people who don't make as much. That concept always fascinates me. So you have Chris Cox and Cynthia Williams, who reads the Wikipedia article, and Chris Cox talks about his cocktail parties, and they said there's no, Cynthia's like, there's no evidence that we overprint anything. Yes, you in the back. Why do you dump on Amazon? Don't talk to me. Get them out of the room. And, and I see this type of stuff. And these people are like, well, we're going to focus on specific brands more. We're going to tighten the belts and and all I see is, once again, people at the top just don't have a clue. The disconnect is, usually when you deal with like tech companies or even retail companies, there's always an argument, that people at the top at Walmart and Costco and Sam's Club and BJ's and, Maytag Repairman and Whirlpool and Washer Dryer Company, they don't know what's going on the ground floor. They don't know how many beautiful ladies are getting stuck in the washing machine, when the repairman comes. But they're not the disconnect on these large companies can be so extreme, it doesn't seem real. And when I see a situation like this, where Hasbro stock is just, I think pre-market's like down 10%, a massive swing for a multi-billion-dollar company. A 10% swing on a company that has a market cap of like 5 to 10 billion range, that's a $1 billion swing if it's a $10 billion company. $1 billion swing on a press release. And I know, compared to Teslas and Googles and Amazons, it's still nothing, but it's still astronomical amounts of money swinging in valuations and market caps. But, I look at this and it blows my mind after seeing what happened with the D&D situation and the open license. And, we're going to delay it. We're going to backpedal it. Hey, Bob, does everybody stop paying attention? Are they cooling off? No, give it a few more months. Wait for everybody to move on to the next piece of drama. Then we'll move forward. When you see these things happening, and then you see the result of the monetary financial impact, and everyone's going, whoa, Hasbro's down. And I'm looking at this, and I'm sitting here going, Pokemon's booming. Weiss has many sets going up. Flesh and Blood's doing great. The new One Piece TCG is doing great. You're seeing these other ones. And some of these new Kickstarter ones doing good. You got Sorcery within a few months away. You see everybody else kind of just chugging along. And here's Magic the Goliath. Well, we know what we're doing. You're all fired. We got to fix something. What? It's just... I don't see... It makes me sad and crying fetal position, Rudy. Only floppy tacos do that, and, your wife's boyfriend does that to me on Saturdays. But it's disappointing. I would almost say it makes me a little angry, and it's just the best emotion I can give to you all is when I watch what's going on. And again, yes, I don't sell my stock. I still am a big shareholder of Hasbro. I'm still sitting on approximately around 5,000 shares. I've held it for a long time. I've told you guys that before, and that's, is that a smart thing to do? Probably not. It doesn't look like I'm doing a smart thing, but I mean, I'm collecting my dividend and whatever. But when I look at this stuff, it's just disappointing. It's just such a letdown. It's like you're in a toxic relationship, and the other person is like, everything's great. You know what? I'm going to take you on a vacation. And then when we get back, I'm going to completely do terrible things and steal this and do that and all this. But you're going on a vacation. Smile. That's what it feels like. It feels like this toxic relationship. Because again, Magic the Gathering remains arguably the best card game ever made, owned by one of the dumbest, worst companies ever. And good for Hasbro for buying Wizards of the Coast a million years ago, or 20 years ago, 15 years ago. But at the same time, what would Hasbro be like if they had never bought that? Would Hasbro even be financially solvent without Wizards? Because Wizards and Magic's profit is being siphoned constantly to support all these other dumbass things. And I'm looking at this stuff, I'm like, that was why, the Alta Fox and other people in the past were like, there's so much value locked up in Wizards, and it's being priced and valuated at a lower thing because of Hasbro and a toy and the growth cycle. I mean, that was their whole angle. And again, it's being mismanaged. The opportunity for digital Magic Arena is just being run so poorly. I can go on and on. And then we get to the situation where we stand here today at the end of January. God, we're almost in February of 23. Holy crap. The end of the first month in Q1 of 23. And Wizards is warning us that, or Hasbro's warning us that the numbers are crap. And you got to sit back and say, well, the sale has concluded for Magic 30th. As Cynthia accidentally slipped on that fireside chat saying, well, we kind of ended it. We wanted to make sure to preserve the value of it. So we ended it. And then she had to backpedal and Chris changed the subject real quick. We got one little comment out of her. I think it was by accident. But, we know it didn't sell out Magic 30. We know Magic 30 was a disaster. Like any other Magic item in history, right now, the thousands of Magic 30 free boxes from LGS hasn't even hit the market. Although, I've been contacted by multiple Wizards of the Coast employees that apparently, I'm hearing rumors that, and some people even sent me a picture, that at the end of the year, going into the first week of January, last week of December, Wizards, it handed out, again, I don't want to get into it too much, but for those of you interested and still watching, apparently, supposedly, I can't verify this because it could be bamboozle, but I've received a couple messages with some pictures from Wizards employees. Apparently, there are so many Magic 30 boxes unsold that they actually start handing them out as Christmas end-of-year bonus-type gifts for Wizards of the Coast employees. And I don't know if it's one for every employee or it's a certain level ranking employee. I don't know how they work internally. That's like a flipping Rubik's Cube. So, I don't know. But I did find that out. And again, for something that's so rare, it blows my mind, the lack of demand. You go on eBay or TCG Player, and the demand for Magic 30 remains embarrassing. Doesn't matter whether you like it or not, the market has just rejected it. And it is what it is. And to this day, I mean, most large LG, there's one or two large LGS that have a buy list for Magic 30, but most large stores don't even have a buy list for it. I don't buy them any price. I've had multiple people offer to send me one for free just to open on the channel and I could keep the cards. And I pass. There's certain points where even creepy scumbag hosed you, you're steal this, manipulate that, forge that. Even bad Rudy over here has limitations, and for me, I just can't. So, we look at this. Obviously, Hasbro relied on an extra 10, 20, 30 million probably on Magic 30 sales. Obviously, that revenue didn't arrive. In my personal opinion, no matter how they want to manipulate accounting and how gray area it is, in my opinion, with zero evidence, I believe one of the reasons for the warning and shortfall was they truly were hoping for a massive additional 10 to 30, maybe even up to 40, 50 million. But I think between 10 and 20 million, probably around 15 range, I think they were hoping for that additional massive shot of 10, 20, 30 million revenue from the Magic 30 boxes at $1,100 a piece. Because it would not be hard to hit that kind of revenue selling tiny $1,000 things that cost you pennies. Their cost of a $1,000 little box has got to be, I don't even know, even if their cost for a booster pack was $1 a piece, even $5 or whatever, even if we made it $10 for the low print run, it's still an astronomical 90+% profit margin. But the thing is, that didn't happen. And I think accounting in their forecasting was relying on that. I think one of the reasons Hasbro was so confident to navigate that 2022 disaster and come out with their end of year forecast on target was because they were going to rely on a huge chunk of that being from Magic 30 as that safety net. So while many of the Crimson Vows, the Midnight Hunt, Streets of Barry Manilow, Boulder's Gate, your washer dryer, all these products stumbled and nobody's restocking them, and therefore Hasbro in the Texas warehouse, or Wizards of the Coast in Texas warehouse, has all this product that is stuck in the system, which is why the concern continues to bubble and spread through the system on people buying products, unless it's a home run product, Dominaria Remastered, Brothers War, unless we know it's a super successful product. If it's not, we now know that product gets stuck in that company's supply chain, and eventually it's got to be purged. And the only way they see, because Cynthia Williams comes from smoking and addict. No, wait, never mind, wrong category. Cynthia Williams comes from Amazon. We know that she's going to, from the top of the ivory tower, swing the magic wand, and that crap's going to be dumped on Amazon. And it's going to be dumped cheaper than me, any store, your ex, your wife's boyfriend, my Taco Bell locally. It's going to be cheaper than any of us can get. And because of that, if it's a bad product, why should you buy it from your store? Why should you buy it from me? Why should you buy from a distributor? And that's where the system seizes up. And that's where we get 2023 Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering. And seeing, again, I thought we were moving on from Magic 30. But I knew eventually there was going to be some Hasbro news hitting across CNBC. And it happened sooner than I thought. I didn't think it was going to happen until February, like first, second week, right? Because I think earnings are they're a little early. But sure enough, it did happen. And I think, once again, they can blame supply chain. They can blame China. They can blame the virus stuff. You can blame Rudy. You can blame your wife's boyfriend. You can blame literally the Chick-fil-A drive-thru. You can blame Taco Bell's addictive tacos. You can blame anything you want. But at the end of the day, the people at the top are the ones signing off, approving or rejecting, and navigating the ship. They are the ones. If you're on a giant cruise ship in Europe, in Florida, wherever, there's someone at the command. There is a captain, whether he's guiding the ship or he's Costa Concordia, and that captain's in the bar hitting on the chicks, and the ship's just flopping around and sinks. At the end of the day, someone's guiding the ship. And at the end of the day, when those morons who don't know what they're doing, who are overconfident that they can do no wrong, when they do a bad job, all the regular people lose their job. And I think that is an absolute tragedy. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where I think we are at the end of January in 2023. Now, one last thing where we moving forward before I end this video. I still remain bullish on Magic's future. I believe in Magic. I believe in the old cards. I still think the reserve list is a thing, even though it's damaged, it's tempered, and it's difficult to discuss, and it's got a black eye, and it's pathetic. The allure of even collector's edition cards to ABU, to Four Horsemen, Arabian Nights, whatever, remains and will always be an iconic piece of history that changed the landscape of everything. That is a fact. There's no way to discuss whether or not that didn't impact everything today. That is just how the world unfolded. Now, moving forward, will we see tremendous growth on old collectible Magic cards or anything moving forward? I still believe we will. but I don't believe it'll be tremendous. I believe we are back to an era that reminds me of 2005 through 2015 maybe, which is old cards. They slowly moved, but there was no drama, buyouts, extreme movements. It's over with. The era is over with. Cash is no longer trash. Hasbro has shown their true colors. Mark Rosewater doesn't mean anything anymore because whatever he states of what can be printed, we won't do another. Doesn't mean anything anymore. We now know one of two things: Mark Rosewater lies, or he has no ability. Anything he says online, it just doesn't mean anything because he has no ability or power to do anything. So either scenario makes his opinion on anything completely useless. So now that we know all this stuff, what does that mean? And that means that it's going to take a long time. And honestly, a further shakeup of Hasbro and Wizards to rebuild credibility. It reminds me of, well, the mid-90s, 95, 96 range with Chronicles, the reserve list being, Chronicles and the reason the reserve list was created. It reminds me of that window of time where everybody didn't believe in the future of Magic because they could reprint anything, and Wizards literally had to make the most extreme drastic move in trading card history and create the reserve list. And to re-steer the ship and to tell the public that you can trust us. That's what it reminds me. Now, the only difference is, today, the reserve list already exists, and however you feel about it doesn't mean shit anymore. But the thing is, how do they pull out of this? And I don't mean that in a giggity way. How does Cynthia and Dr. Cox pull out from the... All right, that's getting weird. How does Dr. Cox pull... No pulling out. How do they move on from this? Some people are speculating they'll have to destroy the reserve list and just make everything free, print to the ground, spike their revenue, sell the company. I've heard many people telling me that crap. Other people are telling me, Rudy, honestly, they're going to have to... There's in this one, I'm going to be on record. I don't believe what I'm about to say. I don't think this is going to happen, but I'm going to tell you all anyways because I like to pass along the data. Many people, stores, and even a distributor, believes that Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro is going to have to create a new, modern, expanded type of reserve list. Whether that's a reserve list for Secret Lair, whether that's a reserve list for just art, whether it's a reserve list just for a certain artwork on a particular card or a certain artist. There is a lot of conversation like that I've been hearing at different levels regarding an expansion or a new modern era protection in place to bring back consumer confidence. I've been hearing chatter about that quite a bit in the last 30, 60 days. In my personal opinion, I'm going to be very blunt with you. I'm sure people, you can cut out of context, make people say whatever, but in my opinion, I don't think they're going to do that. Because number one, they're too stupid. Number two, they don't feel they're doing anything wrong. You cannot correct a toxic relationship or correct a problem if one person in that party does not think there is a problem to connect or correct. If that is the scenario, you cannot move forward with that partner. And this goes with jobs, careers, significant others, wife's boyfriends, even ordering at Taco Bell. If every time you go to a certain Taco Bell and they screw up your order, half of it's missing, or it's garbage, or they don't do a good job, and every time you tell them and they say, oh, sorry, here's another one, and you do that over and over, if they're not fixing the problem, they don't care. And if you keep going back and they don't care, then you become the moron because you're going back for punishment. So in my opinion, yes, it will take time to rebuild this attitude. And we are a couple weeks away from the first standard set of 2023, the Phyrexian All Will Be 69 set. And I am cautiously optimistic. I'm not as positive as I am with Dominar Remastered, but again, that was remastered, that was a specialty set. And, once we start seeing the quality of the cards, the made in Japan, and of course the pull rates and the foiling, oh my god. And the beauty, it looked like 7th edition foils. And once we started seeing, we see how many cards from tutors to literally Force of Wills and time stretches. And when we started seeing the product, then the quality of the product, I knew Dominar Remastered was going to be a home run. Now, Phyrexia All Will Be 69 is more complicated. It's a standard set. Historically, Wizards of the Coast in the last couple of years have obliterated every standard set on the concept that they want everything to be cheap and accessible. We don't overprint, and which leads to Amazon fire sales. Stores won't reorder because they have to get off the books and run. So that's where we're at. Now, this is the first standard set since Magic 30. This is the first standard set that is going to lay the framework and the behavior, the positivity, the negativity, the attitude of everything moving forward for 2023. This is going to set the foundation for how you all, how I believe, and how I feel, and how we all do, and how I report on standard Magic sets. I will tell you right now, once again, as of this filming, I'm going to be offering the draft boxes and I'm sorry, I apologize. I will not be offering the draft boxes, only set and collector, until I see what happens. Now again, I can go back and order draft later or set, but most likely, if the market and stores continue to just dump them at losses to get off the books because they're afraid of holding when the Amazon drop knocks on their door, then I can't be a part of it. And unfortunately, yeah, I've cut back my spending on draft boxes. Patrons have cut back their spending. I have easily reduced the amount of Magic product in the last 3-4 months by millions. And I don't mean a pallet. I mean it's millions of dollars, because I've had more time. I've been offering different things. I mean, hell, moving forward, first time in 5 years, moving forward, every Pokemon release, I am going back to carrying Elite Trainer boxes, even for standard Pokemon sets. So the next Pokemon set coming in a couple months, the Scarlet's, the new set with the new borders and everything, I'm actually going to be carrying thousands of Elite Trainer boxes, and because simply put, the demand is there, people have confidence, and I'm going to be carrying not only the booster boxes, but also trainers for regular sets. We are going to expand that product line as we continue to reduce exposure to new Magic product lines. Now, we're still doing Magic collector boxes and some set, but again, Wizards and Hasbro refuse to acknowledge that anything's wrong. And if they, until, I guess, and I know I said I was going to cut this video off. It's so sad, and I'm going to end the video, that literally so much could change by these morons at the top literally just saying, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. We did overprint some things. There's too many secret lists. We kind of fucked up. We're going to do better. Literally, that would change everything. Whatever. Have a great day, everybody. Hope you learned something today.